This is Akashavani Mangalore. In today's Talk in English program now, Mrs. Nathalia will speak on the topic Sick Building Syndrome.
Housing is one of the elementary requirements of a human being which is essential for health. Sick building syndrome was first coined in 1970 by British and Danish study report, which is used to describe a situation in which the occupants and the workers of the building experience acute health issues that covers a variety of symptoms which increases when people spend more time in a particular building. In 1986, World Health Organization made a report and estimated that 10 to 30% of newly built buildings had indoor problems. As the problem increased, it was highlighted in media and was described as ticking time bomb. Sick building syndrome is a term used to describe a condition that is thought to be caused by being in a building and that affects a number of minor health complaints ranging from coughing to sneezing, dry skin, headaches, and more with no identifiable causes for the complaints. Sick building syndrome can be localized to a very few specific rooms in a building or could be a widespread throughout the building. What causes sick building sickness? Poor air quality is most often the cause of both temporary and long-term sick building concerns. A number of factors can contribute to poor air quality, but a few common causes associated with sick building sickness include poor building design or ventilation. A large commercial building, office buildings, and even maybe a big school building, which is designated to accommodate a number of occupants, can contribute to improper building ventilation. This can negatively affect indoor air quality, causing sick building syndrome. Chemical contaminants from outdoor sources. Outdoor air pollution like pollutants from building exhaust and motor vehicle exhaust can make its way into the building through air intake vents. These pollutants can contribute to poor indoor air quality as well. Chemical contaminants from indoor sources. Commercial buildings, office buildings, and school buildings are full of products that contain chemical contaminants, which include cleaning agents, carpentry, upholstery, adhesives, and variety of machinery used can emit a volatile organic compound that produces acute reactions in building occupants. If a building is poorly ventilated, these volatile organic compounds are unable to dissipate, which further contributes to the poor air quality. Biological contaminants like bacteria, viruses, molds, and pollen can all accumulate in a building, especially in stagnant water that collects in carpeting, in the ceiling of the heating, ventilation, and air cooling system, as well as in drain pipes. Temperature and humidity. An environment that is either too hot or too cold causes a physical reaction for occupants which further distress the human body. Dry airless conditions are common within the sealed buildings which lead to cough, sore throat, and risk of dehydration, which affects the mental and the physical health. Poor and inadequate lighting. A significant lack of natural daylight or mechanical lighting that is flickering, too bright, too dull, and one which does not emit the right type of light for the surroundings in which working conditions of an employee can cause discomfort to the users in the immediate vicinity. Electromagnetic radiation. Gadgets like microwaves, television, and computers emit electromagnetic radiation which ionizes the air. Extensive wiring without proper grounding also creates high magnetic fields which have been linked to cancer cause. Psychological factors. job factors such as stress and anxiety resulting from the working positions, especially when computers are used at a workstation for long periods of time, and pressure of meeting the work criteria, poor interpersonal relationship and communication can also cause office building sickness. Effects of sick building syndrome. The occupants of a building who are sick may suffer from a number of non-specific untreated symptoms. As per Roston, he has splitted the symptoms of sick building syndrome into 5 general categories. Mucous membrane irritation, which affects the eyes, nose and throat, in which a blocked or stuffy nose is the most common complaint in sick building, with sneezing and running nose being more common. Throat irritation, dry coughs, and increased thirst may also occur. These causes more problems for people who wear contact lenses. Neuropsychotic disturbance such as fatigue, headache, confusion and dizziness may result in low blood pressure. Skin disorders including itchiness, dryness and rashes. Asthma-like symptoms such as light chest pain and difficulty in breathing, which occurs because of poor indoor air quality and high number of airborne particulates, can cause issues for occupants in good health. Unpleasant odors and taste sensation are due to the emission from products and equipments used within the enclosed environment can be unpleasant for an occupant, which in turn may lead to nausea. Although sick building syndrome is widely known to affect occupants and office workers and their performance, there is a comparatively little awareness of the effects of the classroom environment on children's educational performance. This is because children are more sensitive to air quality as they breathe higher volume of air as per their body weight, and therefore they have greater susceptibility to environmental pollutants compared to adults as they spend more time in the school environment. Classrooms are also have a high occupancy density values, which can be particular problem for primary school child who spends prolonged time periods in one classroom. Current evidence linking pollutant levels in classrooms and student performance obtained from the worldwide studies are limited but pursued. Poor indoor air quality can adversely affect the comfort and the health of the students and staff, causing short-term health problems such as fatigue and nausea, as well as long-term health problems like asthma, all of which can affect concentration, attendance, student performance, and absenteeism levels, which are potentially important and can have a lifelong effects for the students. Knowledge and understanding of sick building syndrome is obtained through 4 primary means. They are by investigating the health problems of the occupants, through multiple building studies, through controlled experiments in buildings or laboratories, where environmental factors are manipulated and the response of the occupants are surveyed. It also done through literature review, in which data or findings from various investigations or studies of the building and the occupants are collected and analyzed. Building Research Establishment has listed several parameters to assess the problems of sick building syndrome by thermal comfort assessment, which assess the temperature and related humidity, inspection of heating and air handling systems, air quality monitoring, air tightness and air change rate measurements, lighting assessment of daylight glare and background noise assessment. Prevention and control. Increasing ventilation and air distribution. The heating, ventilation and air conditioning systems should be designed to meet ventilation standards in local building codes, and these systems should be operated and maintained properly to ensure that desired ventilation rates are attained. Removal or modification of the pollutant source can be carried out by a routine maintenance of heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, replacing water-stained ceiling tiles and carpets using stone, ceramic or hardwood flooring, proper waterproofing, minimizing the use of electronic items, unplugging idle devices, venting contaminants to the outside, storing paints, solvents, pesticides and adhesives in closed containers in well-ventilated areas, and using these pollutant sources in period of low or no occupancy. Air cleaning can be useful to control air pollution, which is done by using frosted glass and skylights that gives access to natural light, maintaining the terrace gardens, building community spaces, and planting indoor plants that absorb carbon monoxide and formaldehyde from air. Air filters are also be used to remove some of the pollutants. Education and communication are very important parts of air quality management program so as to work more effectively and efficiently to prevent and to solve the health problems. Banning of smoking in the workplace or restricting smoking to the designated areas which should be away from the workstations, and creating no smoking zones with the help of laws. Other possible measures to decrease the risk factors for building sickness is by taking regular breaks outside of the building, by eating lunch at outdoors, opening the windows to get some fresh air if possible, giving breaks to the eyes by looking away from the electronic gadgets like mobile phones or computers, standing at your desk or walking around your office, using cautions with any indoor chemicals such as bleach or insecticides. Extensive research has been carried out over recent years to determine the exact science behind the syndrome, which includes the execution of Health and Safety Committee, Building Research Establishment, and National Health Service have taken the practical steps to reduce the symptoms by investigating the complaints promptly and systematically, checking the symptoms, occupants' assessment for the problems, checking procedures and work practices, using ill health data to identify the client's ill health and sickness absence, utilizing staff surveys to gain insight into the job satisfaction, workplace stress, and dissatisfaction with the working procedures. Sick building illness can affect anyone who occupies the area or a building. The effects of this syndrome should not be underestimated. Employers have a duty of care to the occupants, which includes by conducting regular maintenance of ventilation system under the workplace, ensuring health and safety, which is mentioned under Welfare Regulation Act 1992. Employees and the occupants need to be alert to the signs of sickness and to be taken care of immediately, as the sick building syndrome comprises of various non-specific symptoms that occur in the occupants of a building, and this feeling of illness increases the absenteeism among the employees, which can be reduced to the work performance and ultimately the building closure.
Sick building syndrome. That was the talk delivered by Mrs. Nathalia. This talk came to you from the studios of Akashavani Mangalore.